On track, on track, on track, on track, on track with Jada. Who's calling my phone? Who's calling my phone?
Jada, Jada, I need your help. My mother-in-law's driving me crazy. I don't know how much of this I can take.
Y'all, some of you have mother-in-laws who are running a muck in your life, and I hate to see it. And I know you do too. So let's fix this. Hello, beautiful humans. My name is Jada, and I'm a clinical mental health counseling graduate student on track to becoming a licensed mental health counselor. Today's video topic will include identifying signs of toxic mother-in-laws, understanding the psychology behind their behaviors, effective communication strategies with your partner, as well as setting and enforcing healthy boundaries. Do you feel like the third person in your relationship? Does your mother-in-law's opinion constantly overshadow yours? Do you feel exhausted trying to prove your worth in your partner's family? Do you feel like your mother-in-law is in competition with you for your partner? If you resonate with any of these questions, my love, please climb aboard as we make our way to one of the most ratchet stops on my train ride. Beautiful humans, we are headed to the toxic mother-in-law station. It's right on the corner of Boy Mom Ave and My Son Street. Let's go. So let's get into the first topic. Topic number one, signs your mother-in-law might be toxic. Some signs include overstepping boundaries. This can look like constantly interfering or giving unsolicited advice about your relationship, demanding frequent updates about personal or marital matters, inserting herself into private decisions such as finances, parenting, and household decisions, just to name a few, as well as inserting herself into plans only meant for you and your partner. This could be trips, dates, holiday plans, etc. Feeling like a third person in your relationship is also a sign. Your mother-in-law knows intimate details without your consent. This could be details regarding your health, finances, or your personal relationships with friends, parents, etc. Your partner seems more loyal or committed to pleasing his mother than you. Your partner's mother seems to have the last word in decisions because her opinion outweighs yours. Another sign is disrespectful language and behavior. This includes making negative comments about your appearance, parenting, cooking, culture, or abilities, criticizing, gaslighting, or passive aggressively undermining you, publicly embarrassing or privately belittling you. This could look like asking you what you bring to the table, or have to offer her son, or constantly questioning your love for her son. Another telltale sign of toxic mother-in-laws is competition and jealousy. This could look like acting possessive of your partner's attention or affection, displaying jealous behaviors such as resentment towards gifts, gestures, or attention you receive. It's almost like she hates seeing you be loved on, especially by her child. Comparing herself to you or creating scenarios to make you feel insecure. For example, this could look like her bragging about how a mother and son's love is forever, but girlfriends come and go, making you feel temporary and less important. So, we've gone over some telltale signs that show whether or not your mother-in-law is toxic. Let's get into the psychology of toxic mother-in-laws. In these mother-child dynamics, we are witnessing emotional enmeshment, parentification of a child, and emotional incest. We're going to get into the definition of each of these terms just so that you guys have a better understanding. So, emotional enmeshment describes a relationship where personal boundaries are blurred or non existent, leading to over involvement and difficulty in maintaining individual autonomy and independence. In simple terms, a child may not know where they start and their parent begins. Their parents' emotions deeply impact them. Children who are enmeshed with their parents usually feel overly responsible for their parents' emotional wellness and overall well being. On the parents' end, even when their child is an adult, they feel the need to be overly involved and protect their children from everything and everyone, which makes it hard for the child to become developmentally independent and responsible for their choices. Emotional incest is a form of emotional abuse, usually done by oversharing with a child and expecting them to support you. It is when a primary caregiver or parent treats a child like a romantic partner. The parent relies on the child to get their own emotional needs met that would normally be fulfilled by an adult partner, adult friend, or a therapist. This can look like the parent discussing marital and or romantic problems in their life, expecting their child to put their life on pause, to listen to them vent, and expecting their child to consistently comfort them and fix their problems, even if it inconveniences their child. If the child decides that they no longer want to fulfill this role, they are usually guilt tripped by the parent. In simple terms, emotional incest is when the parent's emotional needs overshadow the child's, and the child is made to feel guilty if they no longer want to fulfill this role. Toxic mother-in-laws are mothers who require their child to fulfill emotional voids within themselves. This often emerges from unmet emotional needs in their own relationships. These mothers may have had inconsistent and unstable relationships, an absent father figure, or their current romantic partner is emotionally distant. Instead of seeking professional help from a counselor or choosing partners who are emotionally intelligent and supportive, these mothers will turn to their sons for this comfort and support. Emotionally immature, selfish, and self centered mothers usually create parentified children. These children are forced to take on adult roles in the parent child dynamic. They feel like a parent to their parents and usually are left feeling guilty, stressed, emotionally exhausted, and anxious, especially when they take steps to separate themselves from their parent. Whenever these children find romantic partners, there's an issue caused by the parent. Whenever these children take steps to move away from home, there's an issue caused by the parent. Any steps the child takes to create their own life is always an issue with the parent because this means that the parent is no longer the center of attention. And the child's focus is shifted on things that don't directly benefit the parent. This can cause the child to be developmentally stunted. In relation to this video, unaccountable baby boys who can't maintain healthy romantic relationships. Parentified children often feel trapped between loyalty to their mother and loyalty to their romantic partner. Mothers like these can cause turmoil in their child's romantic relationships because no one should be happy if mother isn't getting her way. Understanding the psychology of these toxic mothers isn't meant to excuse or enable them. Instead, we should reflect on this information and ensure we don't repeat the cycle with our children. Children who have these types of mothers should refrain from trying to heal them. This is a void that only they can fill. Inside of these mothers is a deep seated fear of abandonment and loss of control. They fear losing emotional intimacy with their sons when their sons gain romantic partners. They are filled with jealousy, hatred, and insecurity. They use controlling behaviors as defense mechanisms. This is why they abuse their child's significant other, secretly hoping it scares them away so that they can get their son's undivided attention. These mothers' cycle of unstable or unsatisfying romantic relationships increases their dependency on the child. If their sons aren't giving them love, support, and male validation, they don't know where else to get it from, so they try to control their child's life. Okay, so far we've covered identifying signs of toxic mother-in-laws and understanding the psychology behind their behaviors. Now we'll get into communicating with your partner about toxic in-law behavior. This can bring up a lot of anxiety. Many people have difficulty expressing their feelings, and many people sort of undermine their experience. I want to let you know that it is okay to speak up about what's currently affecting you because this is the only way you can establish a healthy relationship with your partner without resentment and bitterness in the background. If while watching this video, you resonated with the signs of a toxic mother-in-law, when you're ready, I recommend that you bring this up to your partner. So let's get into how. How can you bring this up? First, it's important that you create a safe environment for this discussion. This initial discussion is a private two-person conversation. This is about you expressing how your in-laws have made you feel and collaborating with your partner to set boundaries so that you and your relationship are respected. Initiate this conversation by using I feel statements to avoid defensiveness. For example, feel free to edit this however you choose to. Babe, I want to talk with you about something that has been weighing heavy on my heart and mind. I feel unheard and disrespected when your mom makes decisions about our relationship without consulting us. Go on to list all disrespectful and hurtful things his mother has said and did to you. Her behaviors have been negatively impacting me and the health of our relationship. I want us to come up with a plan so that our relationship is respected. It is going to be difficult for us to thrive if we are tolerating disrespect. Feel free to edit this however you see fit, but please remember to express specific examples, discuss how you are feeling about what you've experienced, and just remember to use I feel statements while you're having this conversation. So, during this conversation, you want to encourage empathy and understanding from your partner. Help your partner see your perspective clearly. So, once again, describe specific examples. Ask your partner questions like, how would you feel if roles were reversed? How would you feel if my mother or father commented on you in this way? How would you feel if I spoke to your mom the way she talks to me? Emphasize teamwork during this discussion. Stress the importance of being united as a couple. For example, if his mother is overstepping and trying to make decisions that should only concern the two of you, he could say something like, my partner and I will discuss this together. Please don't involve yourself in our decisions. This allows him to set boundaries in a respectful manner and emphasize to his mother that you guys are a team. Remind your partner that it's not about choosing between you and their mother, but about maintaining healthy boundaries. Disclaimer: there are situations where your partner will need to choose between you and his mother. This is in cases where, even though you both have set boundaries, his mother still feels comfortable being disrespectful towards you and your relationship. I will discuss more pertaining to this in a minute. During this discussion, it's important to avoid blame, instead, focus on solutions. Remember, it's you and your partner versus the problem. Emphasize that you want the relationship with his family to be respectful and loving, not contentious. Now that you have expressed your feelings and had a discussion with your partner, you both need to collaborate on the boundaries that will be enforced moving forward. So let's get into setting and communicating healthy boundaries with toxic in-laws. First step: clearly define your boundaries. Decide together with your partner what's acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Write down all of the disrespectful things your mother in law does and brainstorm together how a boundary can be set to avoid her further harming you in your relationship. For example, if when she comes over to your home, she says comments that are belittling, she is no longer welcome in your home and told her behavior is disrespectful and it won't be tolerated. Boundaries can look like them not being invited to celebrations, like your wedding, them not being invited to your home, them not being allowed around your children, not having them in your presence during holidays, etc. We cannot control people's behavior, but we can control who we allow in our lives and how much power we give them. Some more examples of healthy boundaries also include calling before visiting, respecting decisions regarding parenting or finances, and not allowing unsolicited relationship or marital advice. Repeat offenders need to understand that there are consequences to their actions. It is especially your partner's responsibility to enforce these boundaries with their family. Express your boundaries respectfully and firmly with in laws. Use clear, concise statements. For example, we've noticed that you've been giving unsolicited parenting advice, and we'd appreciate it if you'd refrain from doing that moving forward. We can make parenting decisions ourselves. Avoid long explanations or justifications to minimize arguments or manipulation. If while you are communicating boundaries, the person becomes overly emotional and begins to guilt trip, remind them of the boundary and remove yourself from the situation. Do not feed into manipulation. Addressing boundary violations immediately is imperative. Do not let stuff slide. When you let things slide, you are tolerating the behavior, and the person will become more comfortable behaving the way they do. Calmly but firmly address breaches as soon as they occur. For example, we spoke to you about questioning our relationship and belittling my partner. Moving forward, insert consequence. If you notice your partner falling into the cycle of providing their mother with information that doesn't concern her, point it out. For example, I noticed you discussed our marital issues without my consent. In the future, please respect our privacy. Consistent reinforcement of boundaries is essential. Ensure consistency from both partners in enforcing boundaries. For example, if the mother in law violates boundaries repeatedly, consequences might include reduced contact or no contact. It is your responsibility to prioritize your relationship with your partner. Now, let's get into how to reinforce boundaries with persistent toxic behaviors. Just because you've communicated boundaries with in laws doesn't mean that they will always respect it. Remember, keep a unified front with your partner. Consistency and unity strengthen boundary reinforcement. For example, both of you say, we discussed this and decided together fill in the decision. Be mindful of the language you are using when you are establishing boundaries. It is so important that when you are establishing boundaries, especially with in laws, you use words like we, us, our. This shows that you are unified. It is so important to have a unified front when addressing these situations. Second, establish consequences when boundaries have been violated. Clearly define consequences for boundary violations. Disrespect should never be tolerated. For example, if your mother in law repeatedly ignores your rules about parenting, you may reduce or completely remove her unsupervised visits with grandchildren. Lastly, implementing healthy emotional distance is sometimes key to a fulfilling life. Understand that creating emotional distance is sometimes necessary for mental well being. Children who are enmeshed with their mother can benefit from putting distance between them and their parent. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's essential for healthy relationships and personal well being. You should never beg someone to respect you or your partner. No person should be interfering in your personal life. That only leads to destruction and hurt. There will be situations where your partner needs to pick between their romantic relationship with you and their relationship with their mother and or family due to repeat offense and disrespect of boundaries. If after you have a discussion with your partner, they refuse to uphold boundaries with their mother, it is best that you leave because you too shouldn't have to beg for someone to prioritize, love, and respect you. As we wrap up, remember that self care and seeking external support is so important when navigating the effects of toxic mother in laws. I encourage you and your partner to seek individual counseling and eventually couples counseling if needed. It is important that you both prioritize self care to reduce stress and maintain emotional health. Journaling, meditation, leaning on supportive friends, and engaging in hobbies, just to list a few. Let's finish this video out with an affirmation. Repeat after me. I deserve to feel seen, heard, and understood, especially by people who love me. I am worthy of love that is empathetic, compassionate, and respectful. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful to someone out there. Please share your experiences and other topics you would like for me to cover in the comment section. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Please like and subscribe to join me on the journey to our next stop. Love y'all. Bye.